Welcome to Uni Speaks podcast. I am your host, Shada. Today I have my guest speaker,
the one and only Melissa.
Thank you once again for coming out here today to help us with this episode. I really appreciate you. And today we bring you episode 6. And episode 6 is basically for our young adults, for our teenagers who are going into adulthood, or sometimes even adults who don't know or have never heard of certain things. It's things you need to know as a young adult and growing into womanhood or manhood. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this topic and start talking about, our personal experiences growing up. There was a lot of things like my mom told me, but was very vague, like stay away from them credit cards. But she never told me why to stay away from the credit cards. Then I got some credit cards.
And now we regret it.
And now I regret it because I didn't understand what credit cards and credit meant, right?
When I got my credit card, right,
I was nervous.
I was like, okay, I can spend money. I didn't know I had to pay that back. I was like, oh, free money? Sure. In case of an emergency money? Sure, no problem. But then when I got that bill in the mail of, hey, you owe this back, I'm like, oh, damn. Then if you don't pay it all in full, now you got interest. I'm like, well, damn, a $500 payment back turned into $800.
Yes.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yes.
This is why we were told to steer clear of
credit cards. And it's like, for me, it was one of the things of being a product of my environment. From being from Roxbury, Massachusetts, like when I got of age, I think my first credit card, quote unquote, store card was a Macy's in-store card, right? So here it is, the summer of, let's say, 1999. It's the summer. Me and my girls, we go down to downtown Boston, and we're in the thing. They say, you can save XYZ% if you get a store card. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
They always get you. If you get it today.
Yes.
What if I want to come back?
Right. So me being young, I was like, okay, sure, let's try it. Boom, got approved. Boom, walked out of there, and I didn't have to spend none of my money. I was like, oh, I like this. But I knew I had to pay it back, right? So when the bill came, boom, I paid it back and canceled the card. Because I'm like, who shops at Macy's? I don't shop at Macy's. This was a one-time thing. Like, I grew up on mortgages and hand-me-downs and going to the thrift store for school clothes, okay? So I canceled the card. But like, as soon as I canceled the card, y'all, this is what they do. They start sending you credit card offers in the mail because they see that you can pay your bill, pay it on time, and then you close the account.
Right.
I had credit card offers from every single credit card company there was. And then at first, I was just throwing them in the trash, right? Like, rip it up, throw it in the trash. I'm not going to do that. Rip it up, throw it in the trash. But then I started looking at the amount that they were offering me. Back in them days, in the early, 1900s, like $500 was a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
$1,000, you were rich.
I thought I was rich.
Right. $1,000, you were fucking rich. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I started looking and I said, okay, I'm going to fill this out. I'm going to mail it back. Because, the internet really wasn't popping back then.
Right.
I'm going to fill it out. I'm going to mail it back. If I get it, great. If I don't, oh well. Like, what do I got to lose? Next thing I know, like a week and a half later, my mom hand me the mail. You know how like you fill the mail to see what's in it? Girl, I got a hard spot on this envelope. I opened it up. Congratulations, you approved for $3,000. Bitch, $3,000?
I'm going shopping.
No.
Where are we going?
Baby, first thing I did was book a trip to Orlando, Florida. I booked the trip to Florida. I paid for my hotel, which was a nice hotel, my flight and everything on this card. Now, mind you, I did have a good job, okay? So I was paying my minimums back, paying more than the minimum. I had no responsibilities. I didn't have to pay rent and stuff or whatever. And I did this for some years while I had the good job up north because, of course, working up north versus working down south is two different tax brackets, right? So I was doing a good job maintaining these cards, but after they seen my good payback history, guess what happens? I had the American Expresses, the Bank of America cards, the Target cards, the Walmart cards, Circuit City cards. I had every single card offer that you can imagine. And here I am, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I'm filling it out and sending it back. Let me see if you give it to me. Filling it out and sending it back. Let me see if you give it to me. About time I turned 24 and I moved out of my mama house. And it wasn't because I moved out because we were having issues. I moved out because other circumstances. Mm-hmm. I had 10 credit cards.
Damn!
I had 10 credit cards. And back in the day, to get an American Express card was super hard. Like,
it still is now.
Super hard to get an American Express card.
I had the VIP of the VIP credit card. Yes.
I had the clear card with the blue. Girl, I had the American Express card. When I left Boston and moved here, I maxed out my American Express card. Yes.
Oh, Lord.
I maxed that card out with my U-Haul, with my hitch to bring my car down, traveling expenses. I maxed my card out. But when I got here, I was supposed to have a job. Unbeknown to me, the guy gave my job away. I done moved down.
Oh my God.
But I was also going to school, which started a month later. With the school came financial aid and Sallie Mae.
Right.
We're going to get into Sallie Mae, that whole next. We're going to get into her. Girl, when I tell you, when he gave my job away, I'm in a new state, and now I have to figure out what to do. I know I need a job, right? Because these bills ain't going to pay themselves.
Right, they not.
So what I started to do, I started paying my bills on them credit cards. Rent, swipe it, $6.30. Electricity, swipe it, $95. Like, I basically maxed out damn near 10 credit cards down here within the first year, trying to stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to pay it back. But living down here in the way they pay, it was hard to even get a hold of everything and try to do the minimum here. I wasn't making enough in to put out, let alone pay for the bills.
Right.
My breaking point for my credit cards was when the bill collector started calling me. At 6 o'clock in the morning to about 10:30 at night, these bill collectors called me. I talked to a guy one day, I picked up and I'm telling him like, yo, I don't got it. I ain't gonna have it.
You think they care?
They didn't care.
They
Basically, this man told me in a nutshell too. We have a street here in Orlando, Florida called South OBT, and part of it is North OBT, Orange Blossom Trail. There was a strip club called Cleo's. The man basically told me that I might not have the money to pay, but I have something to work for to get the money.
No, he didn't offer you a job at the strip club. What the fuck?
Yeah, he basically either one told me to go sell some cootie cat or go work at Cleo's to get this money.
Sir, what's your name? Because I'm reporting you. What the?
At that moment, I cussed him out. I hung up the phone, and I was actually sitting on the floor with all of my bills around me in a circle, and I was like devastated. Like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm like 3,500 miles away from my mama or whatever.
That's
what
like
am I gonna do?
From a movie.
Right. So this day, I picked all these papers up. I ripped them up and threw them in the trash and changed my number. That does not mean that got rid of my credit card debt, y'all.
Right.
It didn't. It was still there. I know within the course of the next couple of months, I was getting knocks on my door, and it was the fucking sheriff serving me with papers to go to court behind my credit card debt.
No.
I went to court. I showed up. I went to court. Okay. And I sat in front of the judge, and the ignorance at the time, I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
All I know is that I was telling the judge the truth. I know I owe it. I can't pay it. He says whatever the hell he says, hits his on the table. They give me some paperwork.
Travel.
Yeah. They give me some paperwork and I leave. But I tell you what, and I'm not telling y'all this for you to go ahead and do it because times has changed. Things isn't the same. I can tell you that it has been more than 7 years, but things nowadays do not fall off your credit in 7 years.
Nope.
Okay? But I can tell you, for every single credit card that I had back then with no payments, I don't see them on my credit anymore. And I don't touch it. I don't talk about it. I don't mention it. I can pull my credit right now and it's not there. It's just the credit cards that I have.
So did they forego it for you?
I have no idea what they did. I ain't even asking no questions. I ain't bringing nothing up. I'm not asking nobody nothing.
Because nowadays it ain't like that.
Yeah.
They coming for you every day at every time of the day to make sure they get that money.
Yes.
They are not, even when you're 6 feet under in that grave.
You have to show them the death certificate.
In ashes. They still want that money.
Exactly. So I don't say nothing. I pull my credit and it does not show up. I monitor my credit now, even though it's still jacked up. And it's jacked up because of Sallie Mae loans. And we'll get into that within the next couple of seconds. But y'all, the learning story behind this is, if you don't have to use a credit card, don't use it. If you don't have the money for it, don't buy it. Right. And if you do have the money for it and you want to get a credit card to build your credit, buy it and then pay for it in full to start to build your credit. If you can stay away from them credit cards, do so. And the reasons why is because sometimes you fall on hard times and those credit card bills are still going to be there. Mm-hmm. Them debt collectors are still going to be there. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you can't pay, they're calling your phone. And it's going to hit your credit, and your credit affects you in your future, whether you want to buy a car, you want to get a house, you want to own a house. These things on your credit will negatively impact any chance of that. And this is me, again, speaking from experience. In 2020, I had saved up enough money and I had 10 grand to put down on a house. I thought, I was ready to go. But unfortunately, when I had got a realtor, the realtor basically told me my debt to income ratio, I need to fix it. And the problem was my Sallie Mae student loans is killing my credit. And
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, Sallie Mae is killing my credit, and the amount that they want per month is not something that I can actually pay. So therefore, me and Sallie Mae is at odds. What about you?
Girl, I got student loan debt, okay? Do I even mention how much I owe? I'm nervous to even say it because that is the one thing that is hindering me in going for what I want, which is my own house, right? I was blessed enough to be able to get the car that I drive now on my own, which that's something I'm super proud of.
Congratulations.
I did it by myself with no help. I saved, which was something very difficult for me to do.
Right.
Saving, who really wants to save? Because when you get your money, what you're thinking of so many different things that you're wanting to spend it on. Whether it's glamorous things or stuff for the house. Especially, do not take me into Hobby Lobby. Because, girl, I'm spending money. Hobby Lobby has my money. Home Goods has my money, okay? And lately, I've been on this plant rant. Do not take me to Home Depot or Lowe's either. Because I'm going to buy me a plant before I leave. But other than that, going on the topic of student loans, yes, I owe. I try to pay what I can every month. They sit here and they tell you to go to school. Yes, you go to school, and then look what happens. You get stuck with a bill for life. Unfortunately, for life.
I agree.
Because there's no way in hell I'm going to pay $46,000. Okay? Where am I going to come up with that money? And then when you ask for help, because there are programs out here that will try and help you. You heard the word try, right? Our lovely government will try and help you, especially with this Biden act right now, with you seeing if you can get your debt clear from your student loans. It doesn't go towards everyone. It depends on the type of loan you have. So you may sit there and be like, ooh, maybe it'll work for me. When I looked it up, it doesn't apply to me. There's so many rules and regulations with that Biden Act of, it has to have been this many years. You have to have this much. And I'm way surpassed that amount. And it's only been, what? 10 years, okay? 10 years since I've graduated from college, and I'm still dealing with this.
And that I have a similar experience, and I'm gonna be straight up. I went to International Academy of Design and Technology, a bachelor's of fine arts that I can't even use.
Same. Okay. I have a bachelor's in criminal justice with the emphasis of Homeland Security.
Exactly. Can't even use it.
And
right?
Look at me sitting here. Am I doing either one of those things?
Nan nutter. So like so the thing about the student loans is this: when you're ignorant, and I'm speaking about personal experience, y'all. Like, I was ignorant. I was trying to get out of the hood. Like, I didn't want to become another statistic. I definitely was not about to be, back in them days, a hood boy's baby mama. Like, I just wanted change, and I wanted to do what I loved. Exactly. So I signed up for school one day. I woke up angry. I was just upset. I signed up for school one day and the ball started rolling. I got approved to go to school. I found an apartment. I came to Florida. I visited for the apartment. After like less than 24 hours later, I got back home. Congratulations! I got approved for my apartment. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to go to school. Boom. Got approved to go to school. The issue with Sallie Mae is that she has different types of loans, right? There's some loans you can put in forbearance. There's some loans that you can defer. And then you have signature loans. And a signature loan is the worst loan that you can ever get yourself into. Because the signature loan, there is no such thing as putting it in forbearance where you don't have to pay for a year, okay? A signature loan, basically when you're past due, the only thing that they offer you to do is put $100 down to bring your account current, and then you start paying the very next month. That's the only thing you can do with the signature loan.
Oh my God.
What I had to do was let that loan go to collections. After it got to collections, I then let it go to a lawyer. Okay. And the reason why I did it this way, because collections was still ridiculous. Sallie Mae wanted at least like $600 from me a month on top of rent, electricity, a child, a car. Okay. And groceries.
A necessity.
I couldn't do it. So I click, hang up, block. Now I let it go to a lawyer, and I'm not saying that this is the way to go. I'm not saying that this is the way to do it. This is like life lessons and things you should know as an adult. If you go into school and they're telling you about government loans, there's certain government loans that you don't have to pay back, like the Pell Grant and stuff like that. You don't have to pay those back. But when they start talking about Sallie Mae and other people who can help fund your schooling, you need to ask questions about the loans. Like, is this a loan that I'm going to be able to put in forbearance if I fall on hard times?
Right.
What is the forbearance rules and regulations, or whatever you want to call it? Because had I known back then what I know now, honestly, I probably wouldn't have went to school, which would have left me in Boston. But I probably could have looked into a different type of school. Correct. Because this was like a private school. It wasn't like a Sanford Brown or a Valencia Community College or anything like that. It was a private school for fashion design, or whatever you want to call it. But my signature loan is the worst fucking loan you can ever fucking get, and you can't do nothing with it. So I let it go to the lawyer's office, and they worked out a better payment plan with me than anyone has ever. Now, mind you, my student loans is like $60,000.
Oh, so we we near each other.
Yeah, it's like $60,000. Who the hell can pay off $60,000? I can't pay off $60,000.
I want to know in their right mind what kind of jobs they think we got, because I know they can see it, to be able to pay $46,000, or in your case, $60,000. Where am I going to pull that money out of to pay it in one lump sum to you? If I'm telling you I don't have it, I don't have it.
Correct. And then it's like, oh, we call us today and we'll give you a deal
we'll work
on your
a payment plan arrangement.
And then you're talking about $25,000. Excuse me, motherfucker. I ain't got that shit either.
Correct.
Like I could give you 1,000, okay? But then it's just like, okay, as a parent, and I'm a happily single parent, it's like when I get my taxes, I'm trying to catch up on bills. I'm trying to pay my rent a month in advance. I'm not looking to put in my whole tax return on Sallie Mae loans. Right. I'm not looking to do that. So Sallie Mae gets the bare freaking minimum. Like right now, and just being completely honest, like and then also, guys, your financial advisor, you need to ask them how many loans that they got you approved for and through whom. I thought that I just had a Sallie Mae loan, and that is who was funding me going to school. Come to find out, it was 4 different loans.
Girl, oh my God.
I had 2 Sallie Mae signature loans and then 2 government loans. So the whole time I'm thinking like Sallie Mae is on my back and Sallie Mae. I got Mr. Pete and Paul over here and I'm building up debt with them in the corner because I got loans with the government that I didn't even know about, that the school failed to tell me about. I had looked for financial aid relief, all this jazz I was looking for, right? Meanwhile, my stuff had went to the lawyers. I'm working out payment plans with them. I'm paying $50 a month to this person, $60 a month to this person, $35 a month to this person. But no one can consolidate it for me to make one lump sum payment because it's all different people.
And then they hit you with the interest.
Exactly.
So then your what used to be $14,000 is now $40,000.
Correct.
Over time because of interest. They don't tell you about that. So that's why mine has accumulated to $46,000.
Exactly.
You think I have $1,000 to dish to you? No. I have rent, electric, car, food, water, all across the rainbows, bills, okay? Necessities to survive. You think I have $1,000 to pay something that is 10 years old?
Correct.
I understand you need that money.
Correct.
But when I can give it to you, I'll give it to you.
And it's crazy, like, guys, like, that never leaves. No. They will always be looking for your money. And when you go, it wraps right back around to your credit. Yep. When you go to get a house and they pull your credit and see what's on your credit, the first thing that realtor is going to tell you, you need to call your student loans and work out a payment plan and try to get your payment and your bill down. And it's nearly impossible. So you will get discouraged and say, fuck it. You know what? I guess I'm just never going to get a house. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you start to get discouraged.
Yeah. I'm never going to get a house. And then even so, if you have kids, and if you don't have kids now, you just have to think about your future. And this is not telling you don't go to school. If you can pay out of pocket to go to school, do so, right? But in the future, like right now, I have a 14-year-old. And I understand that too. This is another part of this topic, that college isn't for everybody, right? I encourage you to finish high school, but college is not for everybody. But if my son wanted to go to college and he needed a cosigner, guess what? I can't co-sign for him because my credit is shot.
I did not know that.
I cannot co-sign for my child because my credit is shot from when I went to school. So therefore, my son is either going to have to get an academic scholarship or go to a community college for like a trade or something that's damn near free, or he can pay out of pocket.
Wow.
So therefore, it's like my decisions that I've made when I was younger is affecting me now as an adult, and it's going to still affect me as an older woman and when my son gets of age.
Right.
If his credit is not immaculate to do it on his own.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
So from this little tidbit, what we learned is, again, if you're trying to go to school and trying to go to college, do so. I encourage you.
Ask those questions first.
But ask those questions when they talk about running your social security number to get all these loans. Ask after I graduate high school, how long of a window do I have before I have to start paying this loan back? Mm-hmm. Ask about forbearances if you fall on hard time. How does that work?
I think that's why when COVID happened, everybody took that grace period. Like, thank you, Lord Jesus, because they just started up again now. Last month, I believe, is when it started where they were picking the payments back up again, which was, heaven sent for me. I mean, unfortunately, I was still making those payments, which was good for me because it was going towards the interest. Mm-hmm. But now that it's back on, I went right back to square one again.
Yep.
I'm like, so I was paying what? It looks like I haven't even did nothing.
You haven't done nothing, and that's the horrible part about it all. In becoming an adult, now realizing here I sit as big as I am. I sit and I'm just like, damn. Had I done that differently, there's a couple of dynamic changes that maybe wouldn't have happened. Again, I wouldn't have been in Florida. I probably would have still been in Boston. Like, I probably wouldn't have made that change and moved to Florida. I could have had a totally different life than the life that I have now. So I don't regret going to school, but I regret being so ignorant that I didn't understand the loans because I was young.
Right, because you hear, okay, here's an opportunity to do better in life. So, of course, you want to go to school, make people proud, especially your family. Let them know, hey, this person, that person wasn't able to do it, but hey, I'm going to be that change. I'm going to make that difference. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to make something of myself. And then, boom, you get hit with a huge debt that you will never, ever, unless you're rich, get rid of.
Correct.
That you will continue to pay for the rest of your life. Because when my app told me, which is crazy, it tells me in 2042, I will pay my student loan off because of how much I've already paid. What year are we in right now? 2024, okay? By 2042, it says the amount I'm giving right now will be the date that I will be officially done paying student loans.
And then it's like, well, look how old I would be. And you know what? And it's crazy. But talking about student loans actually segues into my other bullet point. The reason, we talked about the credit cards. We talked about Sallie Mae. We talked about, it negatively impacting you. And when that negatively impacts you and you have your own apartment, you do fall on hard times, right? And there's time, like, some people face eviction and they get right out of their apartment. Oh, I got this packet on my door, I gotta leave. And not for nothing, I had 2 eviction packets on my apartments at one point in time in my life because, again, I fell on hard times, lost my job, I wasn't working, I'm trying to make it work, but it just didn't work out, right? I learned the first time around facing my eviction, and I've asked a few people, okay, so you fall on hard times, you can't pay your rent within a month because it takes them about a month or a couple of weeks after the month start to serve you with an eviction packet. What do? Oh, I guess I just pack my shit and leave. I guess I'll just, get a U-Haul and leave and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, did you know, in the middle of this packet, there's a form called the stipulation form, and you can read it. Basically, what the stipulation form is, you writing a letter to the judge into the apartment complex, and you taking it down to the courts. And basically, you plead your case in this letter, telling them what happened, why it happened, what you got planned, what you can do moving forward. You break down your finances, and this is what I can do. Because typically when you're facing eviction, I swear to God, in a week or so later, you have a job lined up, right? Or you have some money coming in. You're just waiting for it to come. You don't have to leave your home if you do a stipulation. Once you give it to the lawyer, to the judge, and to the apartment complex, you take everything up to the courts. and hand off that paperwork, and any money that you may have, right, that was due for the rent, you submit it to the courts to show good faith that you're trying to pay your rent, you don't have to move out. Yes, there are some extra fees. Let's say like $150 court fees, right? And then you're paying
for taking up their time to fight.
Correct. Well, it's not even that. It's for them to, I think the court fees are because you had to go to court for the eviction. It's not for them fighting for it. It's just the apartment complex.
For you going to go and fight it, that now you got to pay those fees because you took up their time for that court date.
Regardless, if you got evicted, you still have to fight court fees. They put those court fees onto what you owe for your rent. So regardless, because they had to file it, they're charging you the filing fee. So you do pay the court fees. But then you also, once you pay the court fees, you're paying your past due rent plus whatever's current. So you definitely have to make sure you got something lined up to do what you need to do, right? But I've done a stipulation twice in my life, and I'm not moving out. I don't give a damn what y'all tell me to do. I'm not leaving because I know I don't have to leave. I know I'm about to fill out the stipulation. And when you fill out that stipulation, it gives you like 2 to 3 weeks grace time anyways, before anything is even processed through. And in the meantime, you can just be depositing money into your court account to pay off. So by the time like everything is put through, I think one time I had like $100 left to pay all my past due rent. I done paid off the court fees. I done paid off majority of my rent. All I got is $100. So now I'm getting paid. And what I'm getting paid with, I'm going to pay my next month's rent. And now I'm back to where I'm supposed to be. So I just learned that, like, just because you have an eviction packet on your door, just because it says 7 days to quit, 3 days to quit, or whatever it is, doesn't mean you have to pack all your stuff up in a U-Haul. Because the amount of money that you're going to spend on a U-Haul, the amount of money that you're going to spend on getting a storage unit, all that money that you are spending to get things that are temporary to hold your stuff, because you might lose your storage unit, you could use that money to pay the courts to fight to stay instead of give up your shit. And then on top of that, now you got an eviction under your name.
Damn.
Now you got an eviction. And if you think that you are going to be able to get another apartment with an eviction under your rental credit history, now there's a difference, y'all. Rental credit history versus credit history is two separate things. Your rental credit history, as soon as you get an eviction under your rental credit history, you are going to have a hard time getting an apartment. You're going to have a hard time renting a home. You're going to have a hard time doing whatever it is for about 7 to 8 years. You're going to have to live in the hood. And for Orlando, that's like Paramore, Ivy Lane, Cross the Tracks. I only know those three for being in the hood. That's where you're going to have to live, because those are the places that we accept evictions. Imagine how many people else are in there that they done accepted with evictions. So now you're going to be living below your means because you done messed up your rental credit history, and you can't do nothing till about 7 to 8 years later and hope that it falls off. Because when they pull it, they're going to say, oh, you owe $1,200 for the Beverly Pines. Damn. Yeah, I owe $1,200 for the Beverly. Well, I'm sorry, we can't rent to you. Now what are you going to do? You're going to be living in a hotel. You're going to be living out of your car. You're going to be jumping from couch to couch. So you want to make sure.
That's why between the pandemic and now, so many homeless people, you see a lot of homeless people. It's very sad.
It's maximized now.
Know. They have a lot of outlets that could possibly help them. They don't know what you just broke down right now, because I definitely never heard of that. So it's a lot of things that are out there for individuals, and we just don't know, because as adults you would think right now we know everything, but we definitely do not. Everything changes literally constantly.
And it's crazy because, like, speaking of the pandemic and piggybacking off of that, the pandemic hurt a lot of people. And then on top of that, where you were supposed to get rental help and stuff like that, some of it fell through and wasn't working. But then again, people got lazy during the pandemic. Nobody wanted to work after the pandemic was slightly over. You know what I mean? And they were still depending on that call the 611 line to get rental help, and now they go and pay 6 months of your rent. People were dependent on that. So that's kind of like a double-edged sword for the pandemic in that rental history. But that does not take away the fact that now there are a lot of homeless people out here. I have seen an increase of homeless people, especially on Church Street, going down towards the not the Citrus Bowl, but the soccer stadium. Like, it's just bananas out there, and it's just like, oh my God, this is so sad.
Yeah.
And you see couples out there, well-rounded looking couples out there with kids that lost their apartment and have nowhere to go. And they're waiting for the shelter to open up at 6:00 so they can get a bed. So
but I mean, things that also you know we should know as an adult is also, you know, being able to what a checkbook is.
Yep.
People forget that you could still write a check to someone. It ain't ancient history. That was an outlet of monetary at one point. Not a lot of people know how to write their name in cursive either. Now when you look at people's signature, it's
print.
They don't teach cursive in school anymore. So it's like when you're asking someone to sign some documentation, you got print signatures. No, what happened to learning cursive and signing your name in cursive or writing in cursive? I feel like they need to bring that back. But
it's a lost art. Like, what was cursive? Like, I've had I wrote someone something and it was in cursive and they said, I can't read it. And I'm like, it's just cursive. I don't know how to read cursive.
That breaks my heart.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's a lost art. So what we're saying is, go to Go to YouTube University, y'all, and type in how to write cursive. And look what we're talking about. That is one thing that 80s babies and some of the early 90s babies were taught, how to write cursive. And we're not going to say the 60s, 70s, and 40s because they already know how to write cursive, right? But in the early 2000s towards the late 2000s, they started to get rid of regular literature in the English way of life. You know, everything is print now just to make it easy, but cursive writing is a lost art. So that is something that you should know as a young adult, how to write cursive.
I used to practice all the time how I wanted my signature to be.
Yes.
After seeing my doctor's sign, I said, ooh, that looks so pretty. I used to practice every day. I mean, I still don't got it down, but I practice every day so I can make that beautiful signature.
I adopted a mantra of my mom's signature. Her A's and her R's. And her N's. So, like, part of the reason why my signature is the way it is because of my mom, because I always used to love how she signed.
Or did you used to forge your signature on documents? That's how you know how to do it.
Well, shut up. I did it once. On a report card. I did it once.
I also feel writing a checkbook, what else? Things you should know is savings. Financially, how to save money, because we're like, okay, X, Y, and Z needs to get paid, and when you look, you only got $40 left to your name.
Right.
You know, it's in this world now, everything going up, it's hard. People do live paycheck to paycheck, and it sucks because you set out all these goals of, well, this is where I want to be, and yet when you look at it, you're like, I'm not even close. So I feel like a lot of people need to learn banking. You need to learn how to save money, how to manage your money.
And also understanding what a temporary hold is on your accounts. Like, in understanding that sometimes when you swipe your card at a restaurant, they're going to take more than what you actually approved because sometimes they add in a tip, right? And so if your bill is $25, you might see a charge for $27.35. or let's round it out to $30. And you're like, no, they charged me $30. That's because they have not closed the let's say the tender for the night. And they charge a little bit more, expecting for you to give a gratuity or a tip to the server that served you that night. So sometimes things are a temporary hold, and once it fall off, you will get the actual charge that's on your receipt. Like, I have explained this at this job to multiple people about using their card at a vending machine, which is owned by a small business. They did not understand the temporary hold. But so now you're around here swiping your card multiple times a day. And at one point in time, you didn't get an item, but there's a temporary hold. If you didn't get the item, the machine will recognize that and it's going to fall off. Then they're like, well, I don't understand why I got Dolce Vita and Sin Creed. Is Dolce Vita Sin Creed? No, it's two separate businesses. You shopped upstairs on the vending machine and then you went downstairs to New York Pizza Sin Creed.
Right.
That's why you see two separate charges. Oh, well, I didn't go to them today. Did you go to them on Monday or Tuesday? Yeah. That's why it's there. Well, is it supposed to charge it the same day? No, it's a small business. You're going to have a temporary hold. And sometimes it takes anywhere 24 to 48 hours for a temporary hold to fall off or actually charge your account, because it's when he closes his bill of sale for the day. He may have been in a rush and ready to go home and didn't close out his bill of sale for the day, so he did it the following day. And especially if they use platforms like Square and say PayPal or Clover, it's the next day. So like, understanding temporary holds on your debit cards is very important, because these young ones out here is really confused because they're swiping, and then now your account's in the negative.
Right.
Because you thought you had the money, but baby, it was just a temporary hold. You just needed to wait a little bit and let the charge clear. Yeah, that's a good segue into that.
And then I also investments in 401k.
Yep, that's the same thing I had for that as well. Investments in 401k. So you typically get a 401k when you are employed at a job, if they offer it. Not all jobs offer a 401k, but certain jobs offer a 401k, like Fidelity and whichever one we have here. Sometimes it can even be MetLife, if MetLife is still around.
And what I didn't know is you have to look into whatever employer you work for. I did not know that my previous employers had me on a 401k because I never received any documentation or anything. It was an automatic
thing.
You up. Yep. So I didn't know that it can roll over to your now current employer.
Yep.
I did not know that. Had I known that,
you would have cashed out.
I definitely would have. My other two that I had at the time, I definitely either would have cashed out or had it roll over to my current one if they allowed it. And majority of the jobs do allow them to roll over to your now.
And that's correct. That's correct. Same with me, being young, not knowing any better. Like, I worked for a company for 5 years. I worked for another company for 6.5 years. I have 401ks at both companies. When I was happily terminated from both companies, I knew I had my 401k. Now, me being young, I wanted all my money. Give me all my money. Every single last penny, I want it all. Ching, ching, cash me out. Cash me out, okay? But now, here I am at this big old age. I'm like, I shouldn't have did that. I should have took out half and left half, right? And then, but back then, they didn't even tell you can roll it over. I don't think there was a such thing as rolling it over back then. No. So now, when you're at a job that offers you benefits, definitely invest in a 401k, even if your contribution is the bare minimum.
Right.
Get the 401k and leave it. Don't look at it. You can change and play with your if you get paid 3 times a month, right? Like this month of April, we get paid 3 times a month. Right. Well, it's May. It is May. My bad.
May 1st.
It's May 1st. Okay. So even if, like, say a month you get paid 3 times, that second check of the month, you can say max out your contribution and do like $150 deposit, right? It's a free check. Go ahead and invest it in yourself and put it into your 401k. And you can do that for however long you're with the company when you get paid 3 times a month. At some point in time, your company will match your contributions.
Yep.
Either 50%, 25%, 30%, 100%. I had a company where they matched my contributions 100%.
Wow. It's rare to come by that.
When I tell you, it was a stepping stone call center. They match your 401k at 100% versus here, because they stingy here, okay? And when I left there, I had a lot of money in my 401k. But because I got terminated mid-COVID, give me all my money. I need every single chick, give me every single dime, give me all my money. But now, at this big old age, I am not, God forbid, I'm no longer employed at my current position. I'm not touching my 401k. I'm going to let it sit right there until I get another job and then let it transfer over. Because had I known back then what I know now, I would have kind of left some money inside of those accounts until I got something else.
Yeah, so it could brew and keep brewing.
And that's one of the most valuable lessons that you can get as a young adult. You got something else?
That was my biggest one, was investing in a 401k and learning about investing.
Okay, so we're going to have a segue and we're going to take it more personally. So one of the things that I learned growing up, but then I actually learned it more as an adult, was after a while, you're going to learn that you have to live your life for yourself.
Yep.
And not the expectations of your parents.
This is when you learn the word selfish.
Right. Because sometimes as parents, depending on the era that your parents is from, sometimes your parents force you to live their dreams through you. And not necessarily understanding what you want to do. Right? So let's say growing up, all my mom ever pushed me to do was graduate high school. The reason why was because she never graduated high school, right? For me, there was nothing else after high school. Once I graduate, I'm done. But then I graduated high school and realized there ain't nothing out here except getting a job and working for the man. That's when I learned that I needed to have something else up under my belt, and I started trying to go to college. But where I feel as though that, let's say, I was failed just a little bit, was the fact of the matter that I was never pushed to do anything else after high school, because I was living my mother's dream of graduating high school. And as an adult, I learned all the expectations my mom had for me may have not been, let's say, expectations that she should have given me, because they was her expectations that she did not complete as a child, if that makes sense. So one of the takeaways is just at some point in time in your life, you're going to have to realize you will disappoint your parents to live your own dream. You will disappoint your parents to do what you want to do and not what they want you to do. Not saying that they will steer you wrong, because my mom has never steered me wrong. But I just realized now that at some point in time, I was living for her and doing what she wanted me to do for her and not doing what I wanted to do for me. If that makes sense.
It does.
Another one, I would say, I love prepaid cards. Prepaid cards have me in a chokehold, boy. I love prepaid cards because listen,
you can keep loading them.
Yeah, and if I ain't got it, it ain't gonna let me get it. Right. Okay. There are some prepaid cards that are beneficial. It helps you build your credit. You put your own money on these cards to fund your extracurricular activities, but it also builds your credit. I love prepaid cards. So get one. Just get one. And that's how I'm going to leave that. And there's a lot of young people out here without health insurance.
Yeah.
Health insurance, whether it's through a job or whether it's something that you pay for every month out of pocket, is definitely something that you need. I talk to a lot of young females and a lot of young males. I just pushed one of my co-workers during open enrollment to sign up for insurance because you're working here and you don't got insurance and you need to go and get checked. Yes. The healthcare marketplace, depending on what state you're in, like I know Massachusetts has mass Medicaid and mass health. I know Florida has Medicaid and whatever other Florida health things that you can sign up for. You need to definitely get your checkups. You definitely need to go get your physicals.
Yeah, please don't forget about yourself.
Yeah, don't forget about yourself.
You first.
Oral health, your teeth. Get your teeth checked. Get your booty hole checked. Get your coochie hole checked. Get your ding-a-ling hole checked. Get all the holes checked that you need to get checked. And it's not the best advice, y'all, but I stand on it. Listen, if you feel bad, go to the ER. Go to the ER. Let them bill you. Let them charge it to the game. That's the only time I say fuck my credit. Because y'all could go ahead and charge this. Go ahead and charge it to the game because I need to know. I need to know if I'm sick. I need to know if I got cancer. I need to know if I got breast cancer. I need you to check the holes. Charge it to the game because I ain't got it right now. But typically, when you go to the emergency room, they're going to try to sign you up for Medicaid. And you probably qualify for medically needy or something like that. They're going to try to get you some type of health insurance while you are there so you can be covered. If you don't feel good, go to the hospital. Stop worrying about the bill because we can't make another you.
Right.
There's not another you. And we need you here. So stay safe and stay healthy. And regardless of what it is, go to the doctors and get checked out.
Amen.
My next one is understanding what you need versus what you want.
That's a tough one for me.
Understanding what you need versus what you want. Let's just say like
that's me grocery shopping. Because I'll be wanting to get everything because I think I need it. Okay. And when I look at my grocery list that I made,
it's not what you want.
Written on there. So I have to battle with my wife. Do we really need it?
Or is this something that you just want in the house?
Or is this something I'm just wanting to have in the moment because we can get it? And then I have to be smart because I'm like, okay, financially, do I really need it? And then I'm like, no, put it back. So I got to put it back on the shelf.
So here's the thing. Never go grocery shopping high or hungry.
Right. Because you are going to want to grab everything because you're hungry.
Don't ever go grocery shopping high or hungry. Okay? And that helps that. But when I state that, understanding what you want versus what you need, let's say for me, I'm a gadget electronic person. Right? Clearly, right? I have an issue. Sometimes I ask myself, do I really need this right now? Or is it just something I want? Like my Temu.
I was just going to bring that up. You are a faithful advocate of this Temu app, and I am not on board yet. But faithfully,
yes,
I'm telling you,
yes,
showing me things that you want to get that you don't need.
Exactly.
So you are advocating for your wants and need
exactly
right now.
So like I would leave my Temu cart full of everything that I want. And I understand that I do not need it right now.
Correct.
Right? Because it's the first of the month. I got bills. I just paid rent. I got electricity, car payment, car insurance, groceries, water, electricity and water is the same one for me. My son's braces. He needs school clothes in a couple of months because school is almost out for us. He needs summer clothes. Like, do I really need this shit in this cart right now? No. Right. But I can come back to it later, right? So it's understanding in the current time and in the current situation that you're in, do you really need it? Or is it just something that you want? Like you might not need those new Jordans Air Force 1769s. You want them, but look in your closet and look at them 1,000 pairs of Jordans that's just sitting there and the gum of the shoe is just rotting away because you don't wear them. Look at all these jerseys or all these clothes, or for females, all this makeup and all these lashes and all these fronted lace wigs, nails, and look at, do you really need it? Or is it something that you want to keep up with the times and the trends, right? Because we tend to spend a lot of money on bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I spend a lot of money on electronics and gadgets and Temu shit. That half the time I get the Temu stuff, y'all, and okay, it came. It's still in the bag, and I done stuffed it in the corner, and I find it like 3 months later. Oh, here it is. I don't know what I brought this for. So I'm working on what I want,
the necessity
versus what I need.
Right. I'm with you there. That's why you can't take me to Hobby Lobby or Home Goods, because I'm just gonna grab stuff thinking
you need it. Thinking about future projects that you ain't even gonna get to.
Right.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to crafting.
Yes.
You can't take me there.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna be like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. But when do I have the time to actually work on those things that I'm claiming to need?
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
So my next one is, as a young adult, teenagers, late teens, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You can go there, because 25, you're still a baby. Mm-hmm. I was still a baby at 25, okay? And I'm still a baby at this big old age. Realizing that all friends are not your friends. And some people are here for what you do for them and not for you. It's a one-sided agenda. Don't bank on history. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about the shit that y'all did together. A zebra's stripes is always black and white, or white and black. One of the two.
No one knows.
A zebra don't change its stripes. No. Friends are not always friends. And when we're young, oh, that's my friend, that's my friend. Are they really though? Who are they here for? Are they here for you, or are they here for themselves? Are they here for your energy and how they uplift you and how you uplift them, how you care for them, how you're always there to talk to them and nourish them? Because do they do the same for you?
I've been in a lot of situations like that. So it's a touchy subject for me, but I'm never going to change who I am.
Correct.
That's just the kind of person I am. I'm very big-hearted.
Correct.
So yeah, I may have learned a lot of lessons when it came to this touchy subject you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was very hurt by these individuals, but you know what? That was my lesson to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That was me simply being me, and still to this day, still being me. And that's never going to change. But I want those individuals to see that you didn't break me. I'm still going to be me.
But they lost a good person in the long run. All friends aren't friends.
Correct.
And that segues into my other topic of it's okay to outgrow friends.
Absolutely. I mean, some of them are temporarily.
Yeah, some of them are temporary.
Some of them are for forever. But, it is what it is. It's life.
You just have to get to a point where you can understand what people are here for you and what people aren't. All friends aren't friends.
Are not always here for the same things that you want. Some of them are here to just piggyback off of what you want. And then when they accomplish it before you, throw it in your face and keep it moving, forget about you. And now you're just there like, damn, did that really just happen? And some friends are just here just to get the tea and then be on their merry way. What do we call those people?
Succubuses.
The fakies.
Leeches.
That just sit there and mooch, and then once they've gotten everything they've gotten from
they don't want nothing to do with you.
You're no longer beneficial for them.
Correct. So it's just, I learned growing up, like, all my friends were guys. Because the girls is just too catty for me. They were too catty. I remember in one instance, okay, and I'm going to call out my neighborhood. Shout out to Walnut Park dogs. Shout out to Walnut Park. 99 to 2000. Like, from the 99. Like, shout out on the park in Roxbury, Massachusetts. I remember I had just had a surgery. Now, I've never really gotten along with these hoes, okay? Never really gotten along with these girls. It was always a popularity contest, okay? And, you know, I just really never liked these girls. They tolerated me. I tolerated them, but I know they were never my friends. And I remember one year I had surgery. I was home laid up on my bed with my foot up, girl. These girls marched upstairs to my room. In my room while I'm laying on my bed to tell me, I don't like you and I don't want to be your friend. I'm talking about 5 of them.
What?
Marched up them stairs into my bedroom to tell me how they didn't like me and they didn't want to be my friend, all behind some boys. Okay? And I'm sitting there like, okay, so? Y'all don't want to be my friends? So? Oh, because you're jealous of my sister. What? Bitch, I probably want to fuck your sister, but being gay back then wasn't
a thing.
And I couldn't, and
Right.
I probably had a crush on your fucking sister. But being gay back then wasn't it, okay? But I shit you not, it was summer, and about 5 of them marched into my bedroom and literally stood in the middle of my floor with their bangle bracelets on. It was bamboo earrings and bangle bracelets on. I don't like you because, and I think you jealous of my sister. I don't like you because they don't like you.
You couldn't call me to tell me this? You had to literally tell
Baby
me.
phones, baby phones, it was house phones back then.
The landline.
And we didn't give out the house number back then, okay? So yes, they rang my doorbell and they came over to my house and stood up in the middle of my bedroom floor to tell me that they didn't like me. And all of them but one left my room. And she stayed there. And it was funny because I forget her name. Her name was like Jalea, Jamia, Jemiah, or something like that. And she was like, and she like literally was kissing my foot in my cast. She's like, I love you. I like you. I don't have a problem with you. She's like, you're my friend. But it was weird because after that, I really never saw her again. Like after that, I really never saw her again. But in that moment, she showed me like, you are my friend. Even with everybody else turning their back on me, you are my friend. Although I really didn't see her after that again. I don't know what the hell happened.
They probably beat her up.
Girl, I don't know what they did. But yeah. In a nutshell, friends, not all of friends are friends.
They come and go.
The
My
last
mom always told me that a friend is always $1 in your pocket.
Yeah, I agree. The last thing I'm gonna mention, the must-haves in life as a young adult, and if you can get it, your passport.
Yes.
If you can get your passport as a young adult, get your passport. If you can travel as a young adult, travel. If you have no kids, safely.
In groups.
If you have no kids and you are on top of your responsibilities, if you can experience the world, do so.
I give it to my best friend, okay? I must admit, when I say jealous, I'm just jealous because I wish I could live the world she lives in, okay? I gotta give it to my best friend. My best friend, we've been friends since literally I've been 8 years old and I'm 34 years old right now. This girl travels the world with her husband, who I love dearly just as much as her, and I live through her.
Mm-hmm.
She's traveled to Greece. I'm telling you, to places that you could only dream of. And I wish I had my shit together like the way she does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know everyone has their falls and she pulls through no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally live through her because if I had my passport and I had my shit together, I'd probably be right there next to her going on these trips. But we all have to go through those lesson learns and gotta be sitting in the back of the bus watching other people get to do things that you only wish to do. But it's okay. That's my best friend. I don't mind watching your story on Instagram, you being somewhere exotic, or you being on a boat, or you being riding on an elephant. Go do your thing.
Exactly. So travel. make sure that you travel and you see the world while you can, before the world is gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Safely. In groups, please.
Travel.
The world is dangerous now.
The second thing that I would say is something to know as a young adult is when you get your first car, it doesn't have to be a brand new spanking car off the lot.
Amen.
You can get you a hoopty that to get you from point A to point B that helps you save money to trade in to get you the new car that you want. But when you go and buy this used car, make sure you pop the hood and listen to the engine run. And rev the engine while you're listening to the engine.
Right.
Okay? You're listening for the knocks and if the engine is making any noise. And when you rev the engine or have someone rev the engine, look and see if the engine jump because your motor mounts can be fucked up. Yeah. I've never purchased a used car that was horrible. I know what to look for. But I had a friend recently that just purchased a used car, brought it to me to see, and I said, well, pop the hood. Let me hear the engine. She popped the hood. I listened to the engine, and I said, there's something wrong. She's like, no. I'm like, come here. Do you hear that noise? Your engine should not be making that noise. A week later, her engine was fried. They shimmied the engine some way, somehow, and her engine was fried. There's nothing she can do. Is sold as is.
I'm going to need you to give me another car.
She's out of $2,500 for this car. Bet. And
damn.
The last thing that I have to know as a young adult, when you do get your first apartment, and although you want it to be a bachelor pad and have all these grand and lavish things.
Where? Because that payment, honey.
It doesn't happen. It's okay to sleep on an airbed and have your TV on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to have an air mattress and your TV on the floor.
Listen, me and my wife moved. Yesterday we hit 1 year, right? We still have stuff in boxes. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are still taking our time in getting what we need versus the stuff that we're like, oh, we think that would look cute in that. No, take your time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rush. Just because Bobby and Whitney got a nice lavish apartment, fully furnished with everything they desire, take your time.
It will get there.
There's no rush. It will get there. Make it your home. Don't make it someone else's home.
Yep. And also to understand when you have your first apartment, don't let the new notion of being independent and having your own shit turn your apartment into the hangout house. Everybody does not need to come to your house. Everybody does not need to know where you live. And what you do extracurricular in your home is what you do extracurricular in your home. Not everybody needs to know your business.
Mic drop.
Now, with that said, what do you think I'm about to say next?
Stay tuned for the next episode.
With that said, we want to thank you for tuning in to Uni Speaks Podcast.
This was a good ass segment.
It was. It's just raw, uncut, unscripted, and we just really just talk. That was good. We did it, y'all. This is episode number 6. Episode 6. We did it. So we want to thank you for tuning in to Uni Speaks Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the discussion as much as we did. Next week, we are going to dive into episode 7, friendships. It's okay to outgrow them. Okay? It's okay to outgrow those friendships. You don't want to miss this episode, y'all. Like, this episode is definitely going to be epic because I got some stories to tell. As always, we want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, experiences, and suggestions in the comment section. Your feedback is invaluable to us. It helps us create content that resonates with you. Stay connected with us on social medias for updates and behind-the-scenes content. All links are provided below. Like, subscribe, and comment before you go. And like always, Crystal, Sage, and bullshit.
And we out. Bye.
Hey there, music lovers and podcast listeners. Are you ready to groove to the beat of your own podcast? Well, look no further than the Wise Observer, the musical genius behind the infectious tunes of Unispeak's podcast. With his magic touch, the Wiser Observer transforms ordinary moments into unforgettable experiences, infusing every beat with energy, passion, and soul. Whether you're looking for a catchy track or a mood-setting background melody, he got you covered. You can connect with him on Instagram at The Wiser Observer and TikTok, The Wiser Observer, for a sneak peek into his creative process and musical masterpieces. And if you are ready to take your podcast to the next level, book him on Fiverr for personalized music that your soul can't resist moving to. Don't miss out on this opportunity to elevate your podcast with enchanting sound of the Wiser Observer. Get ready to dance to the rhythm of your own success. Please note that this promotional skit was not sponsored by Fiverr, TikTok, or IG. Crystals, Sage, and bullshit, and I'm out.